Hello, Charito. Hello, Dr. Ash. Nice to have you here.
Hello, Michael.
I think that Leslie is just now joining us.
Good evening, Michael,
Good
Dr. Ash,
evening.
Leslie.
Hello, Leslie.
Good evening.
Nice to have you all here. So let us start. Yeah, I will switch the camera off again. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the next Industry 5.0 Power of Touch, in which we write on the back of a language towards wasteless world. And we do it with talking about one word for 40 minutes. And the word today is the ring. R-A-N-G, ring. And I will start with you, Charito, because I have you on the top of my screen. So when you heard a few seconds ago the term ring, what came first to your mind, please?
Good evening, everyone. Uh, I'm not surprised to hear that word, Michael, because last week you announced your engagement, and so a ring actually, for most of us, for me, immediately what comes to mind is a circular object, or what's it? A circle or an object with it's a band where it represents a lot of things. It could be an engagement sign, ring, what is this?
Yeah,
I
ring,
ring.
R-A-N-G, ring. Sorry, I wrote it wrong.
Okay. When you say ring, I'm looking at the wedding ring, the engagement ring, and all that. But there's also another side of ring, which is not. You cannot see it, but you can hear it. The ringing of the bells, the sounds that you hear, signaling of something, like a school is opening, the class is open, or the class is closing. That's a ring, right? It's ringing. Even the phone is ringing. But although you see the object is the phone, but the sounds it emits is the ringing, the ring. But I don't know. But if you're going to look at it immediately, for me, it's something that represents a token of love, like engagement for an impending marriage or a wedding ring when you're married already. It's something that would um, make the others aware that you are taken. That is as far as I can say right now. Back to you, Michael.
Thank you very much, Charito. And of course, I have to ask the same question to Dr. Ash. Dr. Ash, when you heard the term ring, what came first to your mind, please?
Good afternoon, everyone. Wonderful to be with everybody again. It's actually spelled R-I-N-G, ring. Um, I believe you spelled it R-A-N-G, Michael. So I'm
I
just
did it
correcting
wrong.
that for
Yeah.
everybody.
You are right. You are right, Doctor.
All right, thank you. So, a ring, I believe that is far more than a simple circular ornament worn on the finger. It is a timeless symbol of love, commitment, power, identity, and tradition. Throughout human history, rings have actually carried very deep emotional and cultural significance across civilizations and societies. From ancient kingdoms to modern fashion trends, rings continue to hold an important place in our human lives. Now, when we talk about ancient kingdoms, kings and the popes, of course, used to wear rings, and the pope or a cardinal's ring is actually kissed by people who believe in the faith. So, so far as we are concerned, as people, actually, um, we believe in the ring on the finger, um, whether in engagement or even in marriage. And that has a very significant uh, role, so far as we are concerned, in our human lives, because it's a bond. So basically, it's a circular shape, uh, and the ring represents eternity. In other words, it's a bond for life because it has no beginning and no end. This symbolism has made rings specially meaningful in our relationships and marriages. Engagement and wedding rings are amongst the most cherished forms of jewelry in the world. They symbolize loyalty, trust, unity, and lifelong partnership between two individuals. In many cultures, including ours in Pakistan or even where I've lived in England, exchanging of rings during marriage ceremonies is considered a sacred tradition that strengthens emotional bonds. Now, historically, rings were also used as signs of authority and social status. As I mentioned, kings, emperors, the Pope, noble families often wore royal rings decorated with precious stones such as diamonds, rubies, emeralds, and sapphires. Now, sometimes, of course, I understand from reading through history that rings were also used with a royal emblem on it, and the king, I mean, what I've read about English history, used to actually put his official stamp, which used to be embossed on the ring that he wore, or the king or the queen, whatever it might be. So these were official seals on important documents that represented authenticity and power. In other words, the seal of the king or the queen of England, um or Great Britain as it was known later, um, showed that there was no doubt in that official document that was passed from hand to hand. They were orders of the high and mighty king or queen of the realm. Now, of course, rings are available in countless styles, also, I believe, and shapes and designs. Um, Gold, silver, platinum, and stainless steel are commonly used metals in ring making. Some rings are simple and elegant, while others are heavily decorated with gemstones and artistic engravings. Fashion rings have also become popular accessories. And of course, we find that there has to be some beauty about the ring that is worn by a lady. A man normally wears a band, but like with thieves around in a country like Pakistan, my wife and I have decided to put both our rings in the locker, bank locker, just to be on the safe side. Because we heard not in Lahore, but in Karachi, people were actually stopping pedestrians on the roads, and these thieves were actually holding them up at gunpoint and asking them to take the rings off their fingers. So that is the modern world of today. Now, in conclusion, I'd like to mention happy memories for you, Michael, because I think you're about to put the ring on Jane's finger, and therefore, it's a great time of emotion for both of you, and that human connection must be everlasting. The way my wife and I decided that it is not for fashion, but for an everlasting bond between us. And some words of advice, if I may, that it's a give and take situation where both husband and wife have to actually, give in to each other. There's no point in arguments or raising. That's the life that I lead. basically. And that ring on my finger, whenever I wear it for any marriage ceremonies or whatever, um, is that bond that I have with my wife. I bought it specially for her in Karachi, and it has 3 diamonds on it. Uh, I don't know. The symbol of 3 has always been there on, but those diamonds, of course, are very expensive, and it's obviously a gold ring. And that is something that it depends upon how much money you can afford. But I thought I'd let her have everything I got virtually. So that's about all I have to say. Thank you very much, Michael.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ash, for sharing. Leslie, there was a lot of said about the ring, but I feel that there will be more from your perspective. So, what is your first thought of the term ring?
Thank you, Michael. Good morning, everybody, or afternoon, or evening, or wherever you are. Um, there's only one thing. You asked for the first thing. And Dr. Ash loves to share lots of things. That's one thing that came up for me. While I certainly love both of what Charito said and Dr. Ash said, and totally agree that these are all things we are aware of. Based on the law of polarity, the one thing that popped into my mind, and forgive me, but I'm going to say it. The law of polarity says that there is good and bad occurring at the same time. And as we live in presence and make our lives as wonderful as we can, there is no doubt that there is an awakening as a result of the Epstein ring, the worldwide corruption that crosses all borders, that is based primarily in patriarchy and money. The book that I've been waiting 25 years to write, my second one, that's about my own life, is called Counterculture. When I first found out about the world of prostitution and that underground, it doesn't matter how or why, but once you know, you know. I always pictured it as a seedy, horrible hellhole, a Dante's Inferno that operated underneath our beautiful world. So you could see the line of the earth, and underneath is where all these horrible, bad people were living like animals. And the rest of us, aspiring to live happy, healthy, and wealthy lives, were up on top. I was wrong. We are at the bottom. And the counterculture of treachery, fear, hatred, and ugliness has now taken the role, has always, and I was unaware, been the rule of law. So while there has to be both, it's very clear to me that the Epstein ring and this worldwide corruption that has been exposed in every country, ours, by the way, the only one where we don't punish for that, which is frightening to those of us in the United States. It's always been this way. And just like the pendulum, it does swing. Right now, it's at the pinnacle of the worst place morally any of us can be. And there is an awakening and a coming, I pray, for the reversal to where it belongs, with a heaviness on the side of love and kindness. But in our world right now, there is murdering and killing of children, and people are looking the other way. So I'll end it there. You know, guys know me as a very positive person. I always look for the good, but I also teach universal law. And I also know that good and bad occur simultaneously in our worlds. My mistake was thinking and believing that we were on top in this beautiful heaven on earth, and the Epsteins and the billionaires and the men who seem to be without morals to a certain extent, they are ruling and we are now at the bottom. And that's why it's called counter culture. Thank you for letting me share that. I haven't shared that with anyone.
Thank you very much, Leslie. And I would like to ask you, Dr. Ash, because you raised the hand, for sure you have something to add or to comment.
Yes, I certainly do have a lot to add to what Leslie said. I agree with her 100%. The goodness has gone out of this world, unfortunately. And the Epstein ring that she talks about is a ring of people who need to be actually ringed in, as we should say, on this particular word ring, where I do believe that we have leaders who have led us up the garden path. And unfortunately, the wars that are taking place these days are all because of the horrifying, horrible, and horrid acts of sex slavery, where they are actually hiding behind the facts and have created a nuisance for people like us who have actually founded a peace movement, and they have choked us completely to the extent that every country, right from, let's say, Norway down to New Zealand, is actually hit with horrifying inflation. Why? Because of one man, as Leslie correctly points out, in the United States, who has hidden the facts behind these wars that are being raged. And hopefully, I would turn around to Leslie to conclude very quietly and say, what comes around, or what goes around comes around, rather. And God willing, we will see this man in handcuffs along with all the others who are killing and maiming people and not letting us rest in peace. Thank you very much, Michael.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ash, for reading. You know, there is Charito, you was absolutely right. So the term was introduced by Jane, and it was the result of our engagement, which took place in a wonderful coffee, Angel's Coffee on Angel's Hill, a very special place in my country where even Goethe, for example, spent a lot of time. And there is an old castle, a ruin, and it's really a wonderful place with wonderful energy. But uh, you mention it and all of you mention it in the ring in connection to wedding, which means something good, something positive. And Leslie pointed out that ring can be a ring which generally is created by evil and for evil. And so it's the very opposite. And my question, and I will maybe ask the same question, all of you, I'm not sure, but maybe, and I will start with you, Charito. Charito, do you think that the love ring, as we know it from marriage, can be extended to the world? Means not only the bad ones should be connected, but even the good ones. Because if I come back to what Dr. Ash said and to the history, a ring was in some way all the time the sign of power, kings, queens, pope, and so on. But I don't think about it in connection with love and marriage. So my question to you, Charito, I will start with you. Do you think a ring can be established to connect all the humans, all the good ones on the earth?
Wow, what a question, Michael. You mean the love ring connects everyone?
Yes.
Not the literal way, of course. Around the world, Michael, the engagement ring, the wedding ring represents love. So we are connected in that sense, not necessarily literally, but figuratively. Because to each country, to each people, they have their own meaning of rings. But at the end of the day, everyone in this world, when they get married or engaged, they use rings. But in my country, I would like to talk about the Philippines. I don't think that's a style where we have engagement ring. Only the rich, probably the marginal ones, and we don't need those engagement rings. I haven't heard one. I didn't even have an engagement ring. But when it comes to marriage, either in the church or civil, the ring must be there. If you don't have a ring, there are other weddings. You do makeshift rings. It is not necessarily steel or whatever, as long as it's a rounded thing, or you can put on your. It can even be a fake one, a cheap one. But the meaning behind that ring is there. It's not the physical ring that we put on. So when you say, can it connect to all the good in the world? Marriage itself is good. And everybody who gets married in this world gets a ring, right, Michael? Now, when I listen to Leslie and Dr. Ash, yes, they're talking about the ring, the sex trafficking ring, those rings which wrought havoc to everyone, to females, to children, all those negative things. Those are rings we cannot see, literally, but we can feel them because a lot of people died because of that. A lot of people were become poor. A lot of people become rich. And why does he think that is? I really don't know, Michael. But you see, at the end of the day, I look at America. I haven't been there. I'm not an American. They said this is a country of democracy. That's why almost everybody around the world wanted to go there, except me, going there to earn a living or what. Meaning to say, it's the epitome of democracy. But look, the Epstein ring that Leslie mentioned started from there. He trafficked around the world, sex, affluent men, women, actresses, actors, and all those. And why are they so sure they can make it succeed? By starting in a place called democratic. Maybe because everybody there does his own thing because it's democracy. So there are things we have to consider here. So if you want to cut, I don't know if I'm right, but in my wild guess, if I don't want this thing to happen to my country, start with my own laws. Don't be so democratic. Cut where you have to cut. Open where you have to open. And these are rules that the government must put in place, not covered with money. But look at us. Now we're so corruption and all those things. But one thing I am deep within my heart, this is what I can say, that we Filipinos, because we are so devoted to God, we so believe in Him, He always offers something for us, a little road, a little opening to go out of this predicament. And we did that. That's why we're resilient. We post through a lot of earthquakes, typhoons, and all those things, a lot of upheavals. But can you see? In fact, we're very known around the world. We made the first bloodless revolution, right? In 1986, nobody died. We did not use arms. We used rosaries. We used prayers. And so something could be done about it, Michael. The ring of kindness, goodness, love, and positivity can be done, extending to that. Where to start? We all look up to God. Back to you, Michael.
Thank you very much, Charito. Leslie, I would like come to you and ask, what happens if the ring breaks? Would it be renewed or what happened?
Which ring are you referring to? Are
You
you
know, any. Let's say it can be even the Epstein ring, because we said that the ring is something like eternity because it's round, it has no beginning and no end. So what happens if it breaks? Is it the birth of new ring?
I wonder. That's such an interesting question. You know, in our experience as human beings, if we were to take a wedding ring, my wedding ring that I wore for 33 years, and I put it under a super high powered microscope, what I would find is that it was never solid to begin with. If you took that same microscope and looked at your hand, you would see it is not solid. It's broken. So perhaps the anomaly and the insight here is this is a label, a belief, a meaning that we gave and colored based on our own relative view for something that never was solid to begin with. You wear it with grace. It isn't solid. That's what's coming to me, that this is a realization that the ring was never solid and that it's up to us to maintain its integrity. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you very much, Leslie. You know, I get divorced before I ask Jane, and I was married for 26 years. And of course, I have a wedding ring, but we never had an engagement ring. So the same like Charito says. And when I moved, I found the ring because I wasn't wearing it for 10 years because the marriage was broken. And I found another ring. It was my own ring, which I bought when I was 18 or something like that. And it was a ring with yin yang. So this sign of I will call it the sign of balance. And what is interesting, the yin yang ring lost half uh, of the head. So the white is no more there. It's just the black part. The other part is empty. And this ring is much more older. And I probably bought it when I was in the school. And this is why I would like to ask Dr. Ash, because you are in education. Do you think that through education, you create the ring of people or a ring of society, let's call it, which should and will hopefully hold together and deliver the best to the world?
Yes, I would certainly think so, Michael. You see, because education is the foundation upon which strong, progressive, and harmonious societies are built. Now, we've been talking about this sex ring or the Epstein files, and therefore, I think there is a lot that is lacking so far as education is concerned on that aspect. because it is through education that we create a powerful ring of society where every individual is connected through knowledge, understanding, values, and shared responsibility. Now, just like a ring has no weak point when it is complete, an educated society becomes united, resilient, and capable of overcoming social, economic, and cultural challenges together. So, education, Michael, Sharito, and Leslie, actually empowers us all to think very critically. And I am a person who believes in a lot of deep thinking, as we call it critical thinking, so as to be able to communicate effectively and contribute positively to whatever community I'm associated with. That kind of thinking actually removes barriers of ignorance, poverty, discrimination, and intolerance by promoting awareness, equality, and mutual respect, also, should I say. Now, you see, like I'm teaching the youth, and I'm also into training in various organizations these days where you have senior management, middle management, and junior executives sitting in. Now, I believe personally that so far as children and youth and the younger adults are concerned, they are lacking in that kind of education that I got, or we got, all of us combined, Leslie also, especially. So, and I would not rule out you, Michael, and Sharito, of course. So, therefore, like that was the quality education that we received. So that actually made us responsible citizens. Whereas there is this other lot that Leslie and I have been talking about, who were irresponsible citizens, and I would call them street children probably, who lacked the ethics and the civic common sense that we developed as children. So, a society built through education also encourages innovation, leadership, and sustainable development. Now, doctors heal communities, engineers build infrastructure, and professors or teachers like me, we shape future minds and entrepreneurs. We create opportunities all through the power of education. It not only helps develop professional skills, but also nurtures compassion, discipline, and confidence, where individuals can work together for the greater good of mankind. Now, I do believe, I'd like to say a few more words on this, that education actually builds bridges, cultural and societal divides, creating unity amongst people from different backgrounds. That is the way it should be. And it teaches tolerance, peace, and collaboration, which are essential for national progress and global harmony. Now, to conclude, I'd like to mention that education actually forms a continuous ring that binds societies together with wisdom, opportunity, and hope, creating a brighter and prosperous future for all. Thank you very much, Michael.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ash. We have 4.5 minutes left, and now that I call us, all of us, the family and global family. And family is, I think, the ring. And what I see here every Wednesday and in the afternoon as well, I see the ring, not for persons. I see for humans who create together a ring which combines wisdom, which combines experience, which combines a lot of things. And among others, it combines love to life and to peace and to everything good. None of us will ever go and kill a child or uh, be part of this Epstein ring or anything like that, you know. But it is important to let people know that the rings must not connect just the evil. You know, one type of rings has been used to enslave people, in fact. And it must not be the ring on the finger, it can be the ring on the neck, which was put to the slaves when they have been moved. And there is much more. But again and again, every single week, I think that we not only investigate the meaning of a term, but we go deeper and deeper, understanding that there are positives and negatives. And with every ring, I think ring, let's call it so, ring is just a piece of metal. But those who wear it, as Leslie said, are the ones who decide whether it will be used in a good way or it will harm or take the power of others. No, quite interesting is the, I don't know what is the name, King of Rings, this famous series, which really take the ring in the center.
Lord of Rings, I think you.
Yeah, Lord of Rings. Thank you, Leslie. Lord of Rings, which is unbelievable complex book and story and everything. I don't like the movies generally. I like the books, but it's so powerful. And I would like to thank you because when when I gave the engagement ring to Jane, I was not able to ask her, but she take the role from me and ask herself. I have no words. I am emotional. But this is what a ring does. It connects. And all of you was there. And I would like to say greetings from Jane to you because she feel it. So it is the last minute waiting for us. And I would like to thank you to be part of this ring, which brings us closer to Wasteless World every Wednesday, every single one. And it is us who will decide how the future will look like. So let me say, have a nice time, free of waste and wasting in all its forms. Stay safe, be free, be human, and let be the ring everybody will love and be proud to wear. Thanks a lot and see you next week. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Michael.
Bye. God bless all of
God
you.
bless.
Thank you, Michael, and everyone.
Thank you, Ash.